Hello scholars, it's Mr. Alan and it's science time again in the GAA online support homeschooling. In our previous class we treated exercise for life, and today's topic is very interesting and consolidates or builds on that topic. So join me as I take you through this session and I hope you have fun learning. Okay, the topic is titled Staying Healthy, and the word for today's class is we want to explore staying healthy and we're looking at lifestyle choices. And our word 2, as the second word for today, is to acquaint ourselves with emergency care, otherwise known as first aid. Join me as we move on. I would like you to look into these vocabulary words at your spare time to get familiar or acquainted with the meaning of them, as we'll be using them in the lesson as we progress. This is a general overview of what I want us to look at in this lesson. We're looking at lifestyle choices, we're looking at first aid, some first aid treatment or action, and how our lifestyle choices determines whether we'll be ill or we'll have a very good and efficient health. And we're looking at healthy habits in this lesson. Lifestyle choices are day-to-day routines we deliberately plan and engage in for different reasons or purposes. We engage in them for different purposes depending on your choice or what you are looking out for as the output. Also, lifestyle choices may include nutrition, the kind of foods we eat, whether solid or liquid foods, how they determine our health, choice of shelter, the kind of residence and environment we put up for ourselves, the choice of exercise, which we treated last week, exercise for life, the choice of healthcare services, how we get our healthcare services, and recreational activities we might engage in. So there are many more we're going to be looking at. So these lifestyle choices go a long way to influence our overall well-being, positively or negatively, depending on one's exposure to different factors in the environment. And what we are looking at in this particular slide is that there are some lifestyle choices that will lead or promote a healthy living, while some will always have an adverse or a negative effect on us, like when we engage in bad habits like smoking, like engaging in hard drugs, and other unhealthy lifestyle choices we talked about in the last class during the study of exercise for life. But I would rather advise that we choose healthy lifestyle choices and habits so that we can stay healthy and strong all through our daily routines. Okay, having said that, how to look after ourselves. A healthy diet can help keep your immune system working well, so it's a great time to enjoy eating a range of healthy food. So I encourage us to eat what we call balanced diet that consists of the 7 classes of food in their right amounts or proportions. The body needs a combination of bone strengthening, muscle strengthening, and aerobic exercises to maintain health. It's a good lifestyle choice to make. So like we saw in the last class, it is very essential to involve in some recreational activities, some exercises that keeps the body fit. And we looked at 3 different areas of exercises last week. We talked about the vigorous intensity exercise, we talked about the moderate intensity exercises, and the less vigorous intensity exercises. Whichever one you engage in, all have their advantages to your entire body system to keep fit and mentally alert. Okay, look at some healthy lifestyle habits I have here. Now, one of the healthy lifestyle habits you are encouraged to involve yourself or engage in is you exercise regularly, then you eat nutritious foods like balanced diets that consist of the classes of foods: carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fats and oil, roughages, and water. Get at least 8 hours of sleep each night. This is the maximum limit a child or an adult should sleep in order to get full restoration or vitality. Also, wash your hands with soap, make good choices, visit health professionals regularly for medical advice in case of any infection or any symptoms. Practice good hygiene like bathing, personal grooming. Then wear protective gear while playing sports in order to prevent injuries that might result from falling off or falling to the ground, or in case of accidents. Alright, there are more health habits I will advise you to engage in, like oral hygiene. Oral has to do with the mouth, what to do to keep your teeth and your mouth clean, like brushing regularly. Then bathing ritual has to do with the regular routine of bathing at least twice a day, morning and before going to bed. Then we'll have the hair care, foot hygiene, cleaning the foot, toileting hygiene. After using the toilet, you need to flush and keep it clean to avoid the spread of germs that might cause diseases. Then hand hygiene is also very important. As you can see, right now we are observing social distancing or physical distancing, and also we are advised to wash our hands in order to prevent the accumulation of germs and even the novel coronavirus that might be lurking in the hands or the fingers due to contact. Then coughing and sneezing hygiene is also very important. That's why we're advised to use the face mask. You can also use a handkerchief to prevent sputum or particles or saliva from your mouth to get to another person or fellow. Then home hygiene, making sure that the environment both in and out or internally and externally is kept clean and hygienic. So these are other healthy lifestyle habits. Teeth hygiene, like I said earlier, hair hygiene, nails, keeping the nails clean by cutting them short. Then body, regular bathing, hand washing, clothing, like we need to wear our clothes in a very clean fashion and in a clean manner. Then get enough sleep. These are other healthy habits. As you can see here, stay fit, stay healthy, stay energized, stay safe, stay happy. When you do all these things, you stay healthy and you are happy for it. You will never regret engaging in good health hygiene or health habits. Now we'll go to the emergency care. Otherwise, I say you can call this first aid, and emergency care refers to the treatment or attention given to an individual who is in a health distress or having health challenges. It can be likened to first aid treatment administered to victims before the arrival of a professional medical practitioner. In cases where individuals or people become victims of some health challenges like accidents, fire burns, electrical shock, seizures, heart attacks, and so on, there are certain things we can do to help them before the medical experts arrive at the scene. There are basic skills one needs to be trained in order to be able to administer as the case arises. So I go to the next slide. That's what we call the 3 P's of first aid. Now, one of the first P's of first aid is to preserve life. First aid is given to patients in order to preserve their life so that they don't lose their lives. To prevent further injury, that's the second P. And the third P is to promote recovery. So these 3 P's is a guideline for anyone who wants to be a first aider, as you'll see in the slides that will come subsequently. First aid in the real sense is the provision of initial care for an illness or injury, as you can see here. Then a medical aid is simply a professional treatment for illness or injury. It generally consists of a series of simple and in some cases potentially life-saving techniques that an individual can be trained to perform with minimal equipment. Anybody can give first aid, but to carry cardiopulmonary resuscitation measures, one should be trained well and possess a valid certificate issued by a competent body. I said this earlier, that one requires some basic training in order to administer first aid. So first aid has to go a long way to preserve life, prevent further injury, and also to help the patient stay in a livelihood environment before the arrival of a medical personnel. This is what we call emergency care in another word. First aid is emergency care given to an ill or injured person before medical help arrives. This further explains its goals, and they are to prevent death, injuries from becoming worse. In an emergency, the emergency medical services, with the acronym EMS system, is activated in most developed countries, though we have it in Nigeria, but it's still upcoming. So to activate the EMS system, you do one of the following. You call 911 as in the US. We also have other emergency numbers you call here in Nigeria. You can also call the organization called NEMA. They are the agency that goes to the scene when there is emergencies of different sorts, both natural disasters and artificial accidents. Then we can call the local fire or police department in case of a fire outbreak. We can also call the phone operator that handles this line. So caring for life is simply what we mean by emergency aid or first aid. A first aider is one who administers first aid treatment to victims that need first aid. So as you can see the badge on this man's hand, he is a first aider. Next, a first aid kit is carried by a first aider, which consists of several medical equipment that is used to treat individuals. As you can see here, we have different forceps, bandages, cotton, we have methylated spirits, iodine, and many other tools you can find in the first aid kit. So emergency first aid is what to do until help arrives, like we said earlier, with the first aid kit. So these are simple procedures. In the case of accidents, in different sorts. In the case of suffocation, you can apply pressure to the heart and resuscitate the heartbeat. In the case of a fracture or dislocation on the arm, you can apply some balm and bandage before the arrival of the medical personnel. In the case of a cold, you can administer warm beverage like tea or coffee, then get the person covered with a blanket. In the case of suffocation, there's what we call a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, but you need to apply wisdom in doing this, because There might be transfer of infection if the person is infected with any infectious diseases or disease. In the case, you might need to use maybe a transparent or a clean handkerchief over the mouth before blowing air to give oxygen to this individual or victim. Then we have a case of a head and wound. You need a bandage to bandage around it so that it will avoid exposure to germs and other infection. In the case of a broken leg, you apply bandage also. Clean the surface with methylated spirit or hydrogen peroxide. Then you bandage. Then lift the patient when need be, when the arrival of a personal medical aid, to carry on from where you stop as a first aider. So these are different assistance we can give to patients who fall victim of different medical challenges or ailments. Then lastly, in the case of what we call spasm, in some cases people call it muscle pull, you might need to stretch the leg of the victim so that it will allow the flow of blood carrying oxygen around the body's cells and tissues to resuscitate the muscles that is being cramped at this point. So with all this, you can help victims that requires first aid in different accidents or different facets. So let's keep exploring more on first aid and emergency care. It will go a long way to save lives. Alright, from now it's bye from Mr. Alan. Thank you for your audience. See you in my next episode. Bye.